Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. And another one. And another one.
After a couple weeks of working on the skill of coding, I am here to show you guys my reflection. Now, I would have to say that my skill development was extremely successful. I was able to learn many different topics over the time period, and I was able to code in many coding programs / languages such as EasyC, C, and Flash. I was able to make codes that were placed into games. One of those games was called Pong. I also made a code in EasyC which was used to drive a Vex robot around a table. The resource that I ended up using more than I expected was my teachers. My teachers had a more in-depth knowledge than I had ever imagined. They knew the in and outs of coding. Plus, the great thing was that if I had any question, I could go straight up and ask them and they would give me the answer. And they wouldn't care if I had 5 questions or 10 questions, they would answer them all. Now, I thought the books would have been my greater resource, but when I looked at the books, they had a more of an intermediate level for coding. Like if I was level 1 or 2, they had their lessons were 3 or 4. So in the end, I started using my teachers more than my books. And in the end, I was able to get more done by asking my teachers and working with them than I ever was from the coding books. And there were many challenges that I faced when I was learning the skill. One of the biggest challenges I faced was time. I needed to keep a track of school, and I needed to keep track of school while I was also learning the skill. Many times, I had to work hard, stay up late at night to study for this math test, finish up this assignment that's close to being due, and it was a big problem because I had to subtract time from coding, and it affected me. Sometimes I was like, I can't do the books today because I have to study for this math test. But I worked hard, I stayed up late at night, and I got those stuff done, and that increased my amount of learning that I got done in coding after. After I worked harder and spent more time on it, I was able to get more coding done, and my skill development became at a higher level than ever became before that. My advice to somebody who is learning this skill would be that you need patience. Now, the problem with coding is that you can have one slight error, like a missing bracket or a comma or space, and it can cause you to have tons and tons of errors. And you need to be patient if you want to go and learn this skill. Because if you think that you're just going to rush through, get the coding done in 5-10 minutes, there's going to be a lot of problems. And you also need to be patient to look over all of your code so that you can see if there's anything missing. I know, for example, that I was typing in a code and it came up errors. I looked over at my peers, asked one peer, he didn't know what was wrong. I asked another one, he figured out what was wrong, and I looked over my code 2-3 times. So you need to be patient, and you need to be ready to be looking over and spending a lot of time to learn the skill. It won't be an easy skill, but it's going to be a great skill. It may take some time, but it's worth it. And I feel that this advice is important because without learning this advice, I feel that, in my opinion, you won't be able to learn this skill at all. Because if you don't want to sit down and you don't want to be patient, because typing code alone takes many hours. I once typed a code which took me 15-20 minutes, which was just a code so that a ball would bounce off a rectangle to make the game Pong. Can you imagine just one ball to bounce off a rectangle? So like I said, in my opinion, I believe if you don't take my advice, I feel that you won't be able to learn the skill because you need patience to look over your code, input the code, and get the code right. And yeah.
I'll tell you. Really? No.